I never thought I'd be one of those people who ends up in a true horror story video. You know the kind, someone retelling a creepy event that sounds just believable enough to make you paranoid. I used to watch those while scrolling through my phone before bed, laughing off the idea that something like that could ever happen to me. It started in the most ordinary way possible, with a noise in my car. It was late January last year. I was driving home from work, dead tired after pulling a double shift. I live just outside a medium-sized city, in one of those quiet neighborhoods that look peaceful until you realize how empty they actually are at night. I took the same route every day, same gas station, same drive-through for coffee. That night, halfway home, my phone buzzed with a notification. Airtag found moving with you. At first, I didn't even understand what it meant. I thought it was some Bluetooth glitch, like my phone was picking up someone's device nearby. But it stayed on the screen. Beneath it, there was a map showing a tiny blue dot, me, and a red dot that seemed to be following me. I frowned. I wasn't carrying an AirTag. I didn't even own one. The message said the AirTag had been detected traveling with me for some time. It gave me an option to play a sound from it to locate it. I tapped it out of curiosity. Nothing. Just the hum of the road and the sound of my old Civic's engine. I pulled into a gas station a few miles down. I got out, circled my car, looked under it, in the trunk, the glove compartment. Nothing. I even checked my bag and jacket pockets. Nothing that looked like an AirTag. Still, the alert wouldn't go away. I brushed it off that night, told myself it was a random glitch. But when I woke up the next morning, my phone buzzed again. AirTag found moving with you. Same message, same dot. Following me. That's when I started to feel uneasy. I Googled it. Turns out AirTags are used for tracking. Apple made them to help people find lost keys or bags. But there have been dozens of stories of stalkers and thieves slipping them into cars or purses. Some people found them magnetically attached to the underside of their bumper. That's when my stomach dropped. I went outside and got on my knees beside my car. The driveway was cold, the pavement rough. I felt underneath the fenders, the wheel wells, every crevice I could reach. Then I felt something. A small, round object, smooth, with a plastic casing. It was wedged up behind the rear passenger wheel well. I pulled it out and stared at it. An Apple AirTag. For a second, I just froze. Who the hell would put that there? I took it inside, dropped it on my kitchen counter, and just stared at it like it was a live grenade. My hands were shaking. I tapped my phone again to pull up its serial number, trying to see if it could tell me who owned it. But all I got was a partial ID, nothing useful. I could play a sound from it now, though. I tapped play sound, and it made that faint electronic chirping noise, the one you hear in Apple commercials. It almost felt mocking. I thought about calling the police right then, but what was I going to say? Someone put an AirTag in my car? I didn't even know who or when. They'd probably just file a report and tell me to be careful. So I did the next logical thing. I destroyed it. I grabbed a hammer from my toolbox and smashed it. The casing cracked open easily. The tiny battery popped out, and I threw the pieces in different trash bins. That should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. A week later, it happened again. Same route home. Same time of night. Another notification. AirTag found moving with you. I swear my blood ran cold. I stopped the car immediately, pulled into a grocery store parking lot, and searched again. I checked every inch of the car, nothing. I even took a flashlight to the underside. Clean. But the notification stayed. I turned on the sound again, and after a few seconds I heard it, faint, muffled, but definitely there. It was coming from inside the car. I tore the back seat apart, checked under the mats, even removed the cup holder insert. The sound was louder when I got near the center console. I popped the side panel loose and nearly dropped my flashlight when I saw it. Another AirTag, taped inside with electrical tape. This one was newer, still shiny, with a clean surface. Someone had placed it there recently. I just sat there staring at it, my pulse hammering in my ears. That meant someone had been inside my car. I called the police this time. They sent an officer out who listened politely while I explained everything. He examined the AirTag, made a note of its serial number, and took a report. Then he said something that didn't sit right with me. You know, a lot of people prank each other with these things nowadays. Probably someone at work messing around, a prank. Who the hell tapes a tracker inside someone's car as a joke? I didn't buy it. But the cop left, promising to look into it. I didn't sleep much that night. Every noise outside my apartment made me jump. I double-checked the locks twice. I even parked my car a few blocks away just in case. For a few days, nothing happened. I thought maybe it was over. Then one morning, I went out and found something on my windshield. A note, just a piece of paper, folded in half. No envelope. Inside, in messy handwriting, it said, "You shouldn't have broken the first one, that's all. No name. No signature." Just that one sentence, I felt sick. I looked around the parking lot, scanning every car, every window. My building had cameras, but they were the cheap kind the landlord put up just for show. Half of them didn't even work. I called the police again, showed them the note. They said they'd increase patrols in the area. That was it. That night, I decided to stay at my sister's place across town. I didn't tell her everything, just that someone was bothering me. She thought I was being paranoid, but she let me crash on her couch. The next morning, when I checked my phone, there it was again. Airtag found moving with you. No. I tore through my backpack, my jacket, even my shoes. Nothing. Then I remembered. I'd parked my car a few blocks away. I sprinted there. My heart was racing so fast I could barely breathe. When I reached the car, I did a full inspection again, but there was nothing visible. I turned on the sound option again, and faintly from the trunk, I heard that same chirp this time. It wasn't taped. It was hidden inside the spare tire compartment. Someone had removed the cover, lifted the spare, and tucked it underneath. That meant whoever it was had full access to my car again, after I'd already reported everything. I didn't even call the police this time. I drove straight to the station, dumped the AirTag on the counter, and demanded to talk to someone higher up. Eventually, a detective came out. He seemed more serious than the others. He took down every detail, asked for my phone so he could see the notification history, and told me to leave my car at the station overnight so they could check for prints or hidden devices. That night, I took an Uber home. It was around midnight when I got another notification, not from Apple this time, just a text message, unknown number. You can't hide in your sister's place forever. I froze. I hadn't told anyone where I was staying. I called 911 immediately, and the dispatcher sent officers to her house. They arrived in minutes, checked the area, but found nothing. No signs of forced entry, no one lurking around. The detective later traced the number. It was a prepaid burner phone. Untraceable. They told me to stay somewhere else for a while, maybe a hotel. So I did. I switched hotels twice that week, never stayed more than 2 nights in one place. The AirTag alerts eventually stopped. For months, nothing happened. No texts, no notes, no chirps. I started to feel normal again. Then, last September, I got an email. It was from a new address, no name attached. The subject line said, "You were fun to find." No body text, just an image attachment. I hesitated, then opened it. It was a photo of me, standing in line at the grocery store from months earlier. The timestamp on the photo was the same night I'd found the second AirTag, the one taped inside the console. Whoever it was, they'd been close enough to take that picture while I was completely unaware. I went back to the police again, but there wasn't much they could do. The detective told me privately he thought it might have been someone I knew. A coworker, an acquaintance, someone who had access to my car keys even for a minute. The worst part is, he was probably right. A few weeks later, I quit my job and moved. I sold my car, changed my number, even deleted my social media. I haven't had another AirTag alert since. But sometimes, late at night, I'll check the Find My app on my phone just to make sure. And once, just once, I swear I saw a red dot appear for a split second near my location. Then it vanished. My fiancé and I were supposed to be celebrating. We'd just gotten engaged the week before, and after months of saving, we finally booked a week-long trip to Arizona. It was supposed to be our first real vacation together, just hiking, small-town diners, and quiet nights in an Airbnb out in the desert. We wanted to unplug from work, from social media, from everything. What we didn't realize was that someone else had already made plans to follow us there. We left early in the morning, loaded up the SUV, and hit the road. I remember that first day vividly, the smell of coffee, the sunrise breaking over the highway. and the feeling that everything in my life was finally falling into place. We stopped in Flagstaff that night and stayed at a cheap roadside motel. Everything felt normal. The next day, while we were driving through Sedona, my phone buzzed. Airtag found moving with you. I remember reading it out loud, confused. My fiancée, Jamie, glanced at me. Wait, what? I showed her the screen. The map was showing a small red dot following us along the route. We didn't own any AirTags. At first, we laughed it off. Maybe someone's tag in another car nearby got picked up. Bluetooth can be weird like that, right? We stopped for lunch, waited a while, and the alert disappeared. That night, we checked into our Airbnb, a small Adobe-style house just outside town. It was cozy, rustic, the kind of place you see on Instagram. We unpacked, cooked dinner, watched a movie, and went to bed early, around 2 a.m. I woke up to the sound of a ding, not from my phone, from somewhere inside the room. At first, I thought it was my imagination, that half-awake dream state where you can't tell what's real. But then I heard it again, a faint electronic chirp like the sound your phone makes when you find your AirPods. Jamie stirred beside me. What was that? I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight, scanning the room. It was quiet again. Then my phone buzzed. Same notification. AirTag found moving with you. I swear, my heart dropped into my stomach. We got up and started searching the room, under the bed, behind the dresser, in our bags, nothing. Then, I noticed Jamie's backpack had a small, unfamiliar keychain clipped to the back zipper. I picked it up, turned it over, and there it was. A white Apple AirTag. She froze. That's not mine. Neither of us had seen it before. It wasn't there when we packed the bags back home. I tapped play sound on my phone, and sure enough, the same chirp filled the room. We both just stood there, staring at it like it was something alive, I remember saying. Maybe someone dropped it or it got mixed up, but that didn't make sense. Jamie's bag had been inside our locked car the entire trip. Someone had to have put it there. We didn't sleep much that night. We left it on the kitchen counter, disabled it by removing the battery, and decided to take it to the police in the morning. The Sedona police were polite, but didn't seem overly concerned. The officer told us it happens all the time now, people using AirTags for theft or tracking. He logged the serial number and said they'd contact Apple to see if it was registered to anyone. That should have made us feel better. It didn't. We drove to our next stop that afternoon, a scenic cabin near Oak Creek Canyon. I kept checking my phone the entire drive, paranoid. No alerts, no chirps. By the time we reached the cabin, the tension had started to fade. We unpacked, poured some wine, sat on the porch watching the sunset. The woods around us were silent, except for the sound of wind through the trees. Then around 10 p.m., my phone buzzed again. AirTag found moving with you. Jamie looked at me, her face pale. No way. We got rid of it. I opened the app, same map, same red dot, following us. We tore through the car this time. Every compartment, every bag, under the seats, even inside the spare tire well. Nothing. But when we played the sound again, we both heard it. Faint, almost imperceptible, but definitely there. It was coming from inside one of the camping lanterns we'd brought. Jamie had bought a pair of those lanterns from Walmart the week before. She said one of them had been acting weird. It drained batteries faster than the other. We unscrewed the bottom and found it another AirTag, taped inside with a small piece of black electrical tape. That's when we realized this wasn't random. Someone knew exactly what we packed, exactly where we were going. I wanted to throw up. We called the police again, but since we were outside Sedona city limits, we were redirected to the county sheriff's office. They took our statement over the phone and said they'd send someone by the next morning. We barely slept. Every sound outside, the crunch of gravel, the creak of the wooden deck, felt like someone creeping closer. At one point, around 3 a.m., I looked out the window and swore I saw a shadow move near the tree line. Just a quick flicker, like someone ducking out of sight. I told myself it was just paranoia. The next morning, a deputy showed up. He took the AirTag, logged it, and told us to stay somewhere public for the next few nights. We decided to cut the trip short. We drove straight back toward Flagstaff, stopped for gas halfway, and that's when something happened that still makes my skin crawl. Jamie went inside to grab snacks. I stayed by the car, stretching my legs. When she came back, She said a man inside the gas station had been standing way too close behind her the whole time. Didn't say anything. Just watched her. I asked what he looked like. She said he was tall, maybe in his 40s, wearing a dark hoodie and a baseball cap. We brushed it off and got back on the road. But when I checked the rearview mirror about 10 minutes later, there was a black SUV following us. At first, I thought it was coincidence. Then I slowed down. So did he. I changed lanes. So did he. After 20 minutes of this, my nerves were shot. I took an unexpected exit into a small rest area, hoping he'd pass. He didn't. He pulled into the same rest stop and parked 2 spaces over. That's when I saw him. Same man Jamie had described. He didn't get out of his car, just sat there, hands on the wheel, staring straight ahead. I didn't even think. I threw the car into reverse, got back on the highway, and sped away. Jamie was crying, saying she was sure it was the same guy from the gas station. We drove for another hour before finally pulling into a big hotel near Phoenix. The manager must have seen how shaken we were because she upgraded us to a room on the top floor and told security to keep an eye out. That night, no alerts, no Airtags for the first time in days. I thought maybe we'd escaped it. Then just after dawn, my phone buzzed, not an Apple alert this time, an airdrop request. The sender's name was Found You. I froze. Jamie looked over my shoulder and went white. We didn't accept it. We didn't even touch the screen. We packed up immediately and left. When we got home, we went straight to the police again. They ran the 2 Airtags through Apple's system. A week later, they told us something that made my stomach twist. Both tags were registered to the same Apple ID, and the account belonged to someone local. Man who worked maintenance for the Airbnb company we'd rented. From he had access to the property, to our booking info, even to our contact number. The detective said they confronted him, and he denied everything. But when they searched his house, they found multiple Airtags, including some he'd been meaning to return. They couldn't prove he was the one following us in the SUV, but the pattern fit. The Airbnb company fired him. We never heard from him again. Still months later, every time my phone buzzes, any notification, any random Bluetooth ping, my heart jumps into my throat. I haven't used Airbnb since, and I'll never forget that sound. That soft, cheerful ding of an Airtag chirping somewhere in the dark. I sell stuff online for extra money, mostly small electronics, old phones, game consoles, and the occasional laptop. It's a hobby I picked up during the pandemic, something to keep my income stable when work got slow. I usually use Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp, and up until last summer I'd never had a single bad experience. But that changed when I sold a pair of wireless earbuds. The message came from a buyer named Derek M. He sounded normal, friendly, polite, nothing sketchy about him. He asked if I could ship the earbuds instead of meeting in person since he lived out of town. I agreed. He sent the money through PayPal and I shipped the box the same day. He messaged back that night. Got the tracking number, thanks. Really appreciate it. That was it. Smooth, normal transaction. Or at least that's what I thought. 3 days later, after I dropped off another package at the post office, I came home to find a small box sitting on my doorstep. No label, no return address, just my name written in black marker. At first, I assumed it was a neighbor's delivery mistake, but when I picked it up, I realized it was addressed to me, first and last name spelled perfectly. No company name, no stamps. I brought it inside, sliced the tape open, and immediately froze. Inside the box was the same pair of earbuds I had sold to Derek, along with a folded note. The note said, "You forgot something. That's all." I just stood there for a full minute trying to make sense of it. The box looked identical to the one I had shipped. Same tape, same brown paper. But there was no shipping label this time. Someone had physically dropped it off at my door. I messaged Derek right away asking if he'd send it back. He didn't reply. Hours passed. Nothing. Then around 9 p.m., my phone buzzed. Airtag found moving with you. I felt my chest tighten. I hadn't used an Airtag in my life. The alert said the tag had been traveling with me for several hours. I tapped to play the sound, and that faint electronic ding echoed from somewhere in my living room. I followed the sound straight to the open box. Inside, under the packing paper, taped to the underside of the cardboard, was a small white Airtag. I remember my hands shaking as I picked it up. My mind was racing. Why would someone put that there? To track me? Why? I pried it loose, placed it on the counter, and stared at it like it was a ticking bomb. When I finally worked up the nerve, I removed the battery and tossed it in the sink. I tried calling the police, but they said without a direct threat, there wasn't much they could do. They told me to file a report just in case, so I did. I also blocked Derek on every platform. That night I hardly slept. Every creak in the apartment sounded like someone outside. Every car passing by made me get up and check the window. The next morning I woke up to find another box at my door. Same kind. No address. My name written in black marker again. I didn't touch it. I called 911. When the officers arrived, I explained what had happened. They opened the box carefully while I stood back. Inside was nothing but a piece of paper. The paper said, "You shouldn't have removed it." That was it. They took the box as evidence and told me to stay alert. One officer even stayed behind for a bit, walking the perimeter of my building, but he didn't find anything. That day, I called in sick and stayed home, trying to calm down. By evening, I convinced myself it had to be some elaborate prank. Maybe a hacker or someone online messing with me after getting my address from a listing. Then my phone buzzed again. Airtag found moving with you. No. I searched the apartment again. Every corner, every bag, even inside my jacket pockets. Nothing. Then I thought about the garbage bin, the one where I'd thrown the Airtag battery. When I lifted the lid, my stomach dropped. Sitting on top of the trash was a new Airtag, a different one. I hadn't thrown that one away. I stepped back immediately and called the police again. When they arrived, they checked the hallway camera. The timestamp showed someone at my door around 3 a.m., a tall man in a hoodie, face hidden, carrying a small box. He didn't knock. Just set it down and walked away. They still couldn't identify him. For the next few days, I stayed with my brother. I figured if it was just my apartment being targeted, I'd be safe there. The first 2 nights were quiet. Then, the third night, my brother's wife woke me up around 2 a.m. She looked terrified. "There's someone outside," she whispered. We crept to the front window. A car was parked across the street, engine running, lights off. A dark SUV. We watched for a full minute. The engine idled. Then it slowly drove away. I checked my phone again. Same notification. Airtag found moving with you. I wanted to scream. We searched my bags, my car, even the clothes I'd brought, nothing. It wasn't until the next morning that we found it inside my laptop sleeve. Someone had unzipped it just enough to slip it inside. That's when the police finally took it. Seriously, they sent a detective to my brother's place, collected both Airtags and traced the serial numbers. Both tags were registered to the same Apple ID. Guess who it belonged to? Derek M., the same guy who had bought the earbuds. They called me in to give a full statement. The detective explained that the man had apparently been using fake buyer accounts to get people's home addresses from shipping info. In my case, he'd tracked my package, learned where it came from, and decided to visit. They found multiple Airtags, boxes, and even a log of addresses in his home. He'd been following at least 3 other sellers. The detective told me something I'll never forget. "You're lucky you noticed early. He wasn't just tracking packages, he was tracking people." Apparently, one of his other victims had found a hidden camera disguised as a USB charger inside a returned item. They arrested him on stalking and harassment charges, but that didn't stop the nightmares. For months after, I'd still get phantom alerts, random pings from my phone that made my heart stop until I realized it was just a Bluetooth signal from my own headphones. Every time a delivery box shows up on my doorstep now, even from Amazon, I hesitate before opening it. And I can't bring myself to use Facebook Marketplace anymore. Because every time I think about that first box, I remember the words on the note, "You forgot something," and sometimes, when my phone buzzes unexpectedly, I still find myself whispering back, "What did I forget?"